All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. It has been a while since I did an interview around here. So, no better way to get back in the swing of things than a quick little chat here with one of the best friends of the program to join me in saying hello to MLS All Star and literal traveling man with some fire hair at the moment, by the way. Timothy Parker, welcome back. How you feeling today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So, how is St. Louis? Well, nope, nope. Where are you right now at the moment? Just give everybody the lay of the land.
Yeah, I got traded. I guess it's almost 2 weeks ago. To New England. Shock, shock for me, shock for the league, shock for Henry Kessler, from what I've heard as well.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that, and you and Henry Kessler in a friendly way. But yeah, so you got traded from St. Louis City to New England a couple weeks ago, essentially for Henry Kessler. There was some monopoly money that nobody cares about. Now, before we get to your experience so far in Boston, give us the inside scoop from the horse's mouth, so to speak, literally, about what you learned and when. How did this all sort of come about? How did it go down?
So St. Louis and I had been in what you can call contract negotiations since probably like January. Um, I wouldn't call them contract negotiations personally and honestly. Um,
There were text messages,
they
this
they
pigeons.
they were offers that were like not. I mean, I'm not kidding. They were offers that wouldn't deem worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
They were
not saying
lowballing you. They were lowballing you.
they were lowballing the crap out of me. The first offer they offered me was like a 50% pay cut,
Mm.
and it was a 1 year deal. And I was like, guys, like,
What are we doing here?
and I'm being honest, like, I really loved St. Louis. Like, I was willing to do the right, like, I was willing to take less money to stay there. And I told them that, but they were just, and I was very upfront with them too about, hey, look, if you don't see me here, just tell me that, because I'm not going to be invested in like contract negotiations with you guys and like trying to call my agent and figure out what you guys are saying back to us if it's not in your plans. And I don't think that they were honest with me in that aspect, because they kept sending offers, like I said, that were just like kind of ridiculous. And from my point of view, I was like, look, guys, like, I don't think these offers are actually real offers. I think you're kind of just doing this to say that you're sending me offers so that if
Mm-hmm.
the media asks, you can say like, oh, we've sent him multiple contract offers and he's denied all of them, and we've done our part, he hasn't done his. And it's like, you can say that in the media, but like between man to man, like we both know what was going on. And they were just never upfront and honest with me about it, which really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then it finally got to the point where they sent me like a contract offer, and I was like, guys, like, this is actually further apart than I could have imagined us being. And that's when I was like, you know what, like, unless you guys come up with something better, I'm just going to be a free agent at the end of the year. We can talk then. Like, this isn't happening.
Mm-hmm. So,
And that was,
long story short, you were like you could have seen yourself in St. Louis for the rest of your
oh,
career.
for sure. That's why I told them.
Mm-hmm.
I had told them that I was like, guys, I want to be in St. Louis like until I like retire. And they just like, what they told me wasn't honestly wasn't the truth,
Mm-hmm.
because they were like, oh yeah, we want to keep you here, we want to keep you here. And then like they would send me an offer and I'd be like, guys, that's not wanting to keep me here, that's wanting to piss me off. Like, I had countless conversations with guys there about like just the idea of what they're doing, and I was like, guys, like, this isn't how you treat like someone coming off of like the year I just had, or like someone you want to stay here. I was like, this is actually like the opposite. And they thought I was like, being a little ridiculous and this and that. And I was like, guys, like, I'm not being ridiculous. I was like, I'm just being honest with you guys that I'm willing to take less money to stay here. And you guys aren't even like giving me years on my contract. You're giving me a 1 year deal.
I mean, I I love St. Louis. I love the team. I love sort of the
Yeah.
atmosphere at games and everything like so. Like I'm sort of caught in the middle here. Does it feel like because this is a business, right? And you know
Yeah.
that as well as anybody else. Did it is that just basically what it came down to at the end of the day? And it's sort of like no hard feelings. It's like fine, you know, we see each other. We you see me different than I see me, and we can't meet in the middle. And so this was a business decision.
That's what I would say. I would say it definitely feels like a business decision. It just doesn't feel, I guess it just doesn't feel right because they just were never honest with me about the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because they basically sent me one last offer like the weekend before I got traded. And that's when I told them, I was like, guys, it's okay. Like, we're not really close. Like, if you guys want to get a little closer, that's fine. If not, I'll be a free agent. And then Thursday morning, I walk into the gym and they're like, hey, Tim, Lutz and Hack want to talk to you. And I was like, oh, shit.
You knew exactly. You've had this conversation before.
Yeah. And then that's how I found out about the deal.
Did you have an inkling after that last contract, you know, the deal that they sent, and you were just like, listen, this is not going to work at that point? Did you think that they were going to trade you? Or did you think it was going to be just at the end of the season, you'd sort of figure it out?
I really thought it was going to be at the end of the season. I would just figure like either figure out a deal with St. Louis because it still was, I guess it was August maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was August at this point, and I was like, all right, there's still time to figure something out. So I was like, all right, if that doesn't work, but I was like, I'll play here the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I never in my mind like I didn't think at all that they were going to be dishing me out. No.
So what happened? What was the conversation like when you got called into the principal's office? What exactly did they say?
They kind of told me that there was a deal on the table with New England. Um, and that like at the end of the day, I had the final say in the deal. Like I could say yes or I could say no. Um,
Was that in your contract, or was that just sort of they
no,
actually?
it was kind of them giving me a little bit of
Yeah.
say,
Okay.
which I appreciated, but I also think if I say no to the deal, I'm probably now like gonna get outed, you know,
Yeah.
like in training and in games, like I probably won't play.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like Boston's an opportunity. And then I had a conversation with Caleb on the phone, and I liked a lot of what he said. I've known Caleb a long time, so I know the kind of guy and coach he is. So I liked a lot of what he said on the phone. And I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. Like, I'm out of contract in December, but this is an opportunity for me to go to Boston and either earn a contract
Mm-hmm.
or play a couple games, hopefully do well in the games, and then further my reputation going into free agency in
Sure.
December.
Okay. Well, so now you're out in Boston. What, you know, what have you seen so far? How long you been there for? Maybe a week at this point? Like, what have you seen? Sort of, do you feel like you're part of the team, or are you still going to have that like first day of school experience when you like move to a new city and you like show up at the locker room being like, "Hi, I'm Tim."
Yeah, it was awkward at first just because the guys had a league, the guys were playing in Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
I couldn't even play in Leagues Cup because I had already played for St. Louis City.
Ah, okay.
So I showed up and it's like these guys are getting ready for a game and I'm just like you know, like I wish I could help, but I
Good luck,
can't.
guys.
Yeah. Like
Go get them.
so and like you know how trainings are when there's like the Leagues Cup games because they're Tuesday, like Saturday or whatever. They're quick turnarounds. So
Yeah.
training isn't really much. So I was really doing like a couple of like days of training, like with the fitness guys, like working with like some of the injured guys, just trying to get fitness in and stuff like that, which I haven't done in forever. So that was terrible.
I hadn't even thought about that though. So you wouldn't have like if New England had gone on to win League's Cup, you would just be watching that whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah. I mean, my first impressions though, the locker room is good. I mean, the locker room's great. I know some of the guys in the locker room. I
Mhm.
like know of and friends of friends with a lot of the other guys. The facility is awesome. The facility is awesome. It's out by Gillette, but it's kind of like tucked into the woods a little bit behind Gillette.
Mhm.
So it kind of gives you like a much different feel than any of the other facilities that I've kind of been at before. So you're just surrounded by like trees, which is kind of a peaceful training area.
It's yeah, I remember Matt Turner, he's on the program several times and he's sort of walked us through it. It sounds like a very nice place. There's obviously the disconnect between being in Boston and being in Foxborough, but everybody knows sort of the situation there, and who knows, maybe they'll have a soccer specific stadium downtown by October.
In our lifetime.
or then or in our lifetime. You mentioned you knew some of the players, everything. What guys did you sort of know going into this?
Yeah, so Matt Polster, I knew we came into the league together at the same time. So friendly with him, Nick Lima, Andrew Farrell is just like the New England basically
Yeah, he's a friend
legend.
of the program too.
Yeah,
So
and he's
yeah.
just like a New England legend. So everyone's pretty friendly with that guy. Ian Harks, I know from like prior national team stuff. So just a couple of those guys.
Okay. Did you reach out to anybody that wasn't necessarily on the team now and sort of ask them what they thought about the Rev situation?
No, I didn't.
No need. No need. Yeah,
Yeah,
Caleb Porter just told you. All right.
yeah. I mean, it was kind of just one of those things where I was like, you know what, like, because part of me thought, I mean, I think everyone on Sam's Army knows that I'm a golfer, but like I was like, man, I could say no to this trade and like be frozen out in St. Louis and just play golf for like the next.
It crossed your mind.
I mean, professionally, it would have been a terrible decision. For my handicap, it probably would have been really good.
Listen, you're clearly still, you still got the drive
Yeah.
because you didn't pull the Gareth Bale. You actually decided, you know what, I'm going to go play some soccer rather than golf. So,
Yeah.
credit to you for that one. Now, quickly back to St. Louis. What are you going to miss most about St. Louis?
Um, I don't know. I mean, the city what this the way the city welcomed my family and I was like incredible. My wife and I, like, my wife's still there, but we had a conversation where we were like, we finally felt like a pro athlete. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like we finally felt like we like mattered to a city. Like growing up in New York, there's so many like sports and things to do and all that, but like, if you saw like, I'm not comparing myself, but like if you were to see like Eli Manning or like Michael Strahan, you're like, oh my God, like that guy's like a giant great.
Mhm.
Like in St. Louis, like it was kind of hard to go out without being recognized.
Yeah.
So like in St. Louis, my wife and I, like, we were always very nice about it and good about it, but it was cool. It was like there's no other way to say it besides like it was just cool.
They embrace their athletes there.
Like,
There's no question about that. And I've seen firsthand they love the St. Louis City team.
yeah.
So that's cool. Now, on the other hand, what is one thing you are not going to be sad about? Not bringing with you to Boston.
Yeah. I'm going to really enjoy the city life of Boston. My wife and I met in New York, and she loves the city. She loves like walking around, not necessarily like the shopping and all that, but just people watching, walking around, having things to do. And in St. Louis, not saying that there's not things to do because it's a very family friendly city, but Boston just offers that like walkability aspect of things.
Mhm. Okay. As somebody who lives in Chicago and visits St. Louis frequently, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. We've now hit the rapid fire portion of this episode, so we're gonna hit some quick hitters here. Who wins the cage fight? You or Henry Kessler?
Me.
Who wins the 40-yard dash? You or Henry Kessler?
Me, I'm actually fast.
Listen, I would look. You took that. You took that personally. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Who has more Instagram followers? You or Henry Kessler?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought you were just going to guess yourself. In
I,
which
I
case, you would be correct. You
okay,
do.
well,
You do
I
have
actually
more.
have a lot now.
Yeah. Listen. You're a powerhouse. Probably a lot
Okay.
of St. Louis people.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Might get
but
some
listen,
follow-ups, but
they still love you. They'll still love you. Who is more resistant to sunburns? You or Henry Kessler?
probably him.
Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a clean sweep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
I'm going to give that one to him too. Okay, so last one here, and listen, if you got to get a little emotional, there's some tears coming out. That's great. It'll drive traffic to YouTube, so I'm all for that. If you had a moment to say anything you want to St. Louis fans who are sad to see you go, what would it be?
All right, pause that because I will come back to that. You
You
want
want
to
me
know
to?
what's funny?
Yeah.
No. So I did a podcast the like 3 days before I got traded and in St. Louis for the club.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, like, what do you want to say to St. Louis like over your like 18 months of being here? Like, I was like, oh, like, it's been a joy to play here. Like, I've really enjoyed my time here. Like, thank you for all the support you've shown me and my family. And then they used that quote over my like tribute video.
Bye bye.
I was like, did they know I was getting traded and like no one wanted to tell me this?
Right.
Like,
Everybody but you knew.
I was like, I got set up by the media guy doing a podcast.
That's amazing.
Because then I told my wife, I was like we were sitting there and like I saw a tribute video and I was like, oh, that's really nice. And like at the end of it, I hear the quote and I was like,
Wait a second.
I said that in a podcast. They didn't get that from me anywhere else.
That's amazing. So basically, just clip that quote or clip that like bit from the podcast. That would base it works here essentially.
Exactly. Like I don't know if they knew I was getting traded, but like part of me is now like, this is it's a little weird.
It worked. Listen, one of their digital team, they got their finger on the pulse and they know how to work it. So well done to
Yeah.
them.
But back
Now
to
on
the question. Yeah.
on the other hand, if you have one message for Revs fans about what to expect from you, what's it going to be?
Yeah. I think I'm just the guy that's willing to like kind of put his heart out on his sleeve and just work really hard. And I don't really take a whole lot of nonsense. I'm old school in a little bit of a way, but I like to win and I like to work hard. And sometimes emotionally it gets the most out of me, but I hope that you're able to see that I really care.
Wears his heart on his sleeve, as I'm sure St. Louis fans know well and will miss, I'm sure. And I will miss, unfortunately, going to St. Louis games and seeing you score goals, by the way, pretty much every time I went there. That will be, it's sad. It's sad, but we had a good run together in St. Louis, and you had obviously a great run in St. Louis. And now on to greener pastures in Boston, and hopefully you guys will. Well, you're going to get a little bit of a rest here, I guess, since they lost the League's Cup. When's your next game?
We don't play till the end of the month, like the 24th, I think.
Okay, well, you get a little. It'll help your handicap. Maybe, well, actually, I mean, you probably won't get too much golf in at this point. You probably got to get integrated in the team and all that. But thank you, Tim. Always great to chat. And we'll be following your endeavors and your successes, where you go from here. You'll be back on to talk about the Spurs and everything else sometime soon. But thank you for jumping on. And really, it was honestly a joy to get to go watch you in St. Louis, and now I'll watch you somewhere else, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. No, I'm glad I got to come on too.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk later.